Let me tell you about a man who got cut open by a sword and accidentally gave the world a religion in a glass. His name was Johnny. Not Coca-Cola yet, not a brand, not an empire. Just Johnny, a soldier. And the war was supposed to be over. That's the part nobody remembers. The papers were signed, the surrender had happened. Men were already talking about going home. But war doesn't stop clean, war lingers. War has a few more teeth left. So on April 16, 1865, days after Lee lays it down, Columbus, Georgia explodes anyway. Close fighting, the kind where you don't see history, you smell it. Johnny is there, he gets slashes across the chest with a saber in hand-to-hand combat in the Battle of Columbus. Final days of the war, the blade opens him, and for a second, that's it. That's the end. But he lives. A doctor gives him morphine for the pain and it works. God, it works. It works so well it doesn't just dull the wound, it moves in, it settles. It becomes a second injury, quieter than steel but harder to pull out. So Johnny leaves the war with two things inside him: a scar that never shuts up and a mercy that will not let go. Atlanta's where he goes next. A city full of smoke and rebuilding. Everything is new wood over old ashes. Johnny comes with his wife, Cliff, educated, steady, the kind of woman who can hold a household together while her husband fights a war inside his own ribs. They have a son. They try to become normal. But Johnny is not normal anymore. Johnny becomes Doc Pemberton, and Doc does something strange with his pain. He studies it. He treats it like a puzzle. He disappears into his laboratory, into bottles and brass kettles and sharp herbal smells, camphor, lavender, willow bark, the air stinging with promise. His hands are stained with experiments. Because Doc believes something deep down, almost like prayer. Pain is not a verdict, pain is a problem, and problems can be solved if you can find the right mixture. He becomes obsessed with a leaf from far away, coca. Peru, Chile, the edge of the map, the leaf that lifts fatigue, brightens the mind, makes the body feel less heavy. Doc reads, Doc distills, Doc adjusts, because underneath all the respectable talk of medicine, he's doing something much more desperate. He's trying to save himself, not with willpower, with chemistry. And buying tea leaf fine, he makes a drink, a coca wine, a nerve tonic, Pemberton's French wine, coca. And it sells the oldest product in America, hope, a brain tonic, a remedy for exhaustion, a bottle that whispers, you don't have to feel like this. And for Doc, it isn't business, it's survival. Then Atlanta changes the rules, 1886, prohibition. The city goes dry, alcohol is banned, and suddenly Doc's miracle in a bottle is illegal. Most men would quit. Doc goes back to the bench, he strips the wine out, rebuilds the formula from scratch, keeps the coca, adds cola nut, pushes sweetness into balance, and somewhere late at night, somewhere between frustration and stubbornness, he mixes it with carbonated water, the bubbles rise, he tastes it and something shifts, because it's not just medicine anymore, it's alive, bright. It doesn't feel like a remedy, it feels like a desire. That's the moment, that's the hinge. Draining team 86. Doc carries his syrup down Marietta Street to Jacob's Pharmacy, not like a conqueror, like a man carrying a gamble. The clerk pours, the soda water hisses, the glass fills with fizz and possibility. 5 cents, 9 glasses sell that first day. 9, that's not an empire, that's a heartbeat. That's the first proof the thing can live outside Doc's hands. And then his bookkeeper tastes it, Frank Robinson, and Frank understands something Doc doesn't. The drink is good, but the name has to be unforgettable. Pemberton's French wine, coca is too long, too heavy. Frank wants something that snaps like a match. He takes up his pen and writes Coca-Cola. 2 words, music. A name that feels like it was always waiting. Doc approves because Doc is the chemist. Frank is the one who knows chemistry is only half the game. The other half is hunger.
The first year, they sell 990 gallons of syrup, tens of thousands of glasses, 5 cents at a time. Atlanta begins to learn the taste, the habit, and the profit $500, not a fortune. Just enough proof to keep going, just enough spark. But pain is expensive, dependency is expensive. Doc is not a businessman. He is not built for ownership battles and paperwork and waiting. He's built for flame, for kettles, for the next adjustment, and his body is still keeping score. By spring of 1888, months before his death, he sells the rights, $2,300, not because he can't see the fire coming, but because he can't afford to wait long enough to feel its warmth. August 16, 1888, Doc Pemberton dies at 57, buried in Columbus. A newspaper calls him a well-known druggist. That's it. That's the ending he gets. He does not see what comes next. He does not see bottling plants spreading like gospel. He does not see the drink escape fountains and inner kitchens and ballparks and wars and summers in American memory. He gets the war, he gets the scar, he gets the kettle, he gets 9 glasses. And yet even now, people leave Coca-Cola bottles at his grave. Small offerings like the world is saying, we remember where it started. Not with an empire, with a wounded man leaning over a brass kettle, trying to outsmart pain and stirring as if the right mixture might still change everything.